Welcome to this explainer. You know, if you've been watching the financial sector lately, you might actually think the biggest changes are all happening in flashy customer-facing apps or maybe some trendy new investment products. But honestly, there is a massive, incredibly quiet revolution taking place right now, completely behind the scenes, and it's fundamentally upgrading the entire roadmap of global banking as we know it. Today, we're decoding the rise of agentic AI. We're going to look at the data, break down exactly what the world's biggest financial heavyweights are doing at this very moment, and map out exactly why this changes, well, pretty much everything. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the AI banking upgrade, a quiet revolution. I want you to really let this quote sink in. The operating layer of digital banking is being rewritten in real time. We are definitely not talking about a routine software update here. We aren't talking about a new feature patch that you just download overnight. The very foundation of how finance actually functions is being completely rewritten, and it is happening right now. This is our bold thesis for today, and it really sets the perfect behind-the-curtain tone for understanding just the sheer scale of what we're dealing with. So what exactly is driving this rewrite? In a word, agentic AI. We're talking about the deployment of autonomous AI agents across critical, high-stakes banking workflows. And I really want to emphasize those two words, autonomous and high stakes. We have officially moved way past those basic scripted chatbots that just answer FAQs. These are sophisticated AI agents actually making autonomous decisions. They're executing complex sequences, and they are doing it in workflows where the stakes literally could not be higher. I mean, when billions of dollars, extremely strict regulations, and global markets are involved, your margin for error is absolutely zero.
That brings us to Section 2, the Big 8 rollout, leading the charge. Let's start with two absolute titans of the industry. JPMorgan Chase is out there automating payments and running incredibly complex fraud investigations using their Coin and LLM suite. Just think for a second about the sheer volume of payments a bank like JPMorgan processes every single day and the massive risk of fraud that comes with that. They are actively trusting AI to handle these incredibly critical tasks. Meanwhile, over at Goldman Sachs, they're deploying agentic workflows for dense data extraction and regulatory compliance. Now, anyone in the industry knows compliance in global banking is a notoriously difficult, highly regulated nightmare. But Goldman is using autonomous AI to extract vital info and make sure they are playing perfectly by the rules. It's just a brilliant illustration of AI stepping into the highest stakes arenas of fraud and global finance rules.
And, this strategy kind of shifts depending on a bank's core focus. Take Citi and Bank of America, for example. Citi is actively scaling up their ARC platform, specifically to streamline client onboarding, which has historically been this incredibly friction-heavy, complex process. Bank of America, on the other hand, is pushing the boundaries with their Erica AI assistant, expanding it way out into deep, autonomous finance workflows. So here, we're seeing the transformation of vital client-facing workflows, really bridging that gap between massive internal operational power and the actual day-to-day client experience.
Now, what's really fascinating about this slide is how the remaining giants are applying this exact same technology to their own unique global challenges. HSBC and UOB, they are tackling the massive, tangled web of international laws, logistics, and credit risks in global trade finance, literally using AI to navigate it autonomously. Wells Fargo is leaning completely into AI-powered operational automation to speed things up. And rounding out our Big 8 is Standard Chartered, who are deploying these agents specifically to streamline their massive, highly complex internal systems. Across the board, every single one of them is using agentic AI to solve their absolute most complex, resource-heavy problems.
Moving on to Section 3, achieving operational resilience, beyond better tech.
Listen, if you only take one single thing away from this explainer today, please let it be this. This whole paradigm shift, it is not just about having faster computers or a sleeker digital interface. It really isn't just better tech. What we are looking at is a fundamental strengthening of banking operations to achieve total operational resilience. These banks are building hardened systems that can actually withstand sudden shocks, adapt to real-time threats on the fly, and function with absolutely flawless continuity. So the crucial point is how this resilience actually manifests on the balance sheet, right? Well, there are three highly tangible impacts driving this massive adoption. First up, risk management. By using autonomous agents in fraud and credit workflows, these banks can identify and mitigate threats way faster than humanly possible. Second, cost optimization. Automating these deeply complex, high-stakes workflows just completely slashes operational overhead. And third, regulatory compliance. An AI doesn't get tired, it doesn't need a coffee break, and it certainly doesn't overlook a tiny clause in a 500-page regulatory update. It ensures tight, unyielding compliance in an industry where, let's be honest, mistakes literally cost billions. These three pillars are the exact reason this technology is taking over. And that brings us to our final section, Section 4, Rewriting Digital Banking, the Future of Finance. The Big Eight are actively rewriting the operating layer of digital banking. Guys, this isn't some beta test or a quirky experiment anymore. It is an unstoppable paradigm shift being led by the absolute heavyweights of the financial world. By deploying these autonomous agents into their most critical workflows, they are forever altering the global financial roadmap. The standard for what a bank can actually do, how fast it can operate, and how incredibly secure it can be is being raised exponentially as we speak. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question. If the Big Eight are achieving this unprecedented level of operational resilience, risk management, and cost optimization through AI, what exactly happens to the financial institutions that fail to adopt agentic workflows? In a sector where speed, efficiency, and security are literally everything, can a bank relying on the old operating layer even survive the next decade? It is a pretty stark reality for the industry to face. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes peeled on how this quiet revolution continues to unfold.